Did you know that one of the biggest traps keeping men from reaching their full potential isn't out there in the world, but right inside their minds? It's an addiction, a secret habit that no one talks about openly, yet it's stealing your confidence, destroying your energy, and chaining you to mediocrity. What is it? Masturbation. Now, before you roll your eyes or dismiss this as just another guilt trip, understand this. Stoicism, one of the most powerful philosophies ever created, has already exposed why this habit is more dangerous than you think. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, the great minds behind Stoicism, warned men against living as slaves to their desires. And let's be honest, masturbation is the perfect example of this. It's a momentary escape, but at what cost? Every time you give in, you're not just losing a few minutes of your day, you're losing your discipline, you're losing your ambition, you're trading long-term success for short-term pleasure. Imagine trying to climb a mountain while carrying a heavy bag of sand on your back. That's what this habit does to you. It weighs you down, drains your energy, and keeps you from becoming the man you're meant to be. The truth is, you've been lied to. Society normalizes this habit as if it's harmless, even healthy. But the Stoics teach us otherwise. They believe that every time a man indulges in fleeting pleasures, he weakens his ability to conquer challenges, build meaningful relationships, and live a life of purpose. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why Stoicism can free you from this cycle. We'll explore how this ancient philosophy holds the key to regaining your self-control, reclaiming your power, and unlocking your potential. If you're serious about transforming your life, stick around. What you're about to learn will not only make you rethink your habits, it might just change the way you see yourself forever. Every man has the potential to be strong, disciplined, and capable of achieving greatness. But there's a silent thief robbing you of that power, and it's disguised as a harmless habit. Masturbation isn't just about a physical release, it's an attack on your mental and emotional strength. The Stoics understood that a man who can't control his desires is a man controlled by them. Think about it. Every time you give in to this urge, you're reinforcing the idea that pleasure matters more than purpose. You're teaching your brain that it's okay to take the easy path, even if it leads nowhere. This repeated behavior chips away at your confidence, drains your energy, and makes you feel less like the strong, decisive man you know you can be. Now let's get real. When was the last time you felt truly proud after indulging in this habit? Probably never. That's because deep down, you know it's not aligned with the man you want to be. Stoicism teaches that true masculinity comes from mastering yourself, not being a slave to fleeting pleasures. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Masturbation flips that idea upside down, leaving you powerless over your own desires. Imagine a man training to become a world-class athlete. He has a strict diet, a rigorous workout routine, and a mindset focused entirely on his goal. Now picture him giving in to unhealthy cravings every day, skipping workouts and losing focus. How can he possibly succeed? That's exactly what happens when you let this habit take control. You're sabotaging your own growth, both physically and mentally. But here's the good news. You can stop this thief. By understanding how this habit is stealing your masculinity, you've already taken the first step toward regaining your power. The Stoics believe that a man's strength comes from his ability to rise above temptation and focus on what truly matters. When you reject this habit, you're not just saying no to a moment of weakness. You're saying yes to a life of discipline, purpose, and true masculinity. Stop letting this thief control you. The man you want to become is waiting, and it starts with taking back what's been stolen. Let's face it, society is not your friend when it comes to becoming the best version of yourself. Everywhere you turn, you're bombarded with messages that tell you masturbation is normal, healthy, and even necessary. It reduces stress, they say. It's good for your body. But have you ever stopped to question who's benefiting from these lies? Spoiler, it's not you. The Stoics would call this out for what it is: manipulation. They taught that wisdom comes from questioning what you've been taught, especially when it comes to your desires. Society's message about this habit isn't about helping you. It's about keeping you distracted and weak. Why? Because a man who's enslaved to his impulses is easy to control. Think about it. If you're constantly chasing cheap pleasure, you're not chasing anything meaningful. You're not building a business, developing your body, or growing as a man. Instead, you're stuck in a loop of momentary gratification, convinced that this is healthy. The truth is, this habit isn't healthy. It's numbing. It dulls your drive, kills your ambition, and traps you in mediocrity. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Imagine you're scrolling through your phone late at night. You come across an ad or article telling you how beneficial this habit is for your mental health. It sounds scientific, it feels reassuring, but what happens after you follow that advice? Do you wake up the next morning feeling powerful, energized, and ready to conquer the day? Or do you feel drained, unmotivated, and full of regret? Society's lies about this healthy habit are designed to keep you there, in a state where you're too weak to question it and too tired to fight it. But the Stoics would remind you that real health, mental, physical, and emotional, comes from discipline, not indulgence. Marcus Aurelius didn't need cheap pleasure to find peace. He found it in self-control and purpose, and so can you. It's time to see through the lies. The truth is, what society calls healthy is often just a way to keep you distracted from your true potential. Reject the lie. Take back your strength. You weren't made for mediocrity, you were made for greatness. The Stoics believed that giving in to fleeting pleasures was the fastest way to weaken your mind and spirit. They saw indulgence not as freedom, but as a chain, a subtle yet powerful force that keeps men trapped in cycles of weakness and regret. And when it comes to something like masturbation, this truth couldn't be clearer. You've felt it before. That momentary rush, the instant gratification, followed by the inevitable crash. What does it leave you with? Guilt, emptiness, a nagging sense that you're capable of so much more, but just can't seem to break free. Stoicism explains this perfectly. Every time you chase short-term pleasure, you trade away your long-term strength. It's a brutal cycle. The more you indulge, the weaker your resolve becomes. Suddenly saying no feels impossible, and self-control seems like a distant dream. But here's what the Stoics knew that most men don't. The pursuit of pleasure isn't harmless. It's a test of your ability to rise above your impulses and take control of your life. Think about how this habit creeps into your daily life. It starts small, maybe as a way to relieve stress or pass the time. But over time, it grows. It steals your energy, distracts you from your goals, and turns into a crutch you rely on when things get tough. And the worst part, it convinces you that this is normal, that there's nothing wrong with it. But deep down, you know better. You can feel how it's holding you back, even if no one else sees it. The Stoics taught that true freedom doesn't come from indulging your desires. It comes from mastering them. A man who's controlled by his cravings isn't free, he's enslaved. But the man who can say no, who can rise above those urges, is unshakable. He's the kind of man who builds empires, earns respect, and leaves a legacy. You can be that man. It starts by understanding this simple truth. Pleasure is temporary, but weakness lingers. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you're reclaiming your strength. And with every choice, you're moving closer to the life you were meant to live. A life of power, purpose, and true freedom. The Stoics knew it then, and now it's time for you to live it. Let's be real. Too many men today are asleep at the wheel, living their lives on autopilot. You know what I'm talking about, chasing short-term pleasures, avoiding responsibility, and wondering why they feel stuck. It's time for a wake-up call. If you don't have self-control, you don't have power. And if you don't have power, you'll never reach your full potential as a man. The truth is harsh, but it's simple. Every time you give in to your urges, you're choosing weakness over strength. You're letting a momentary craving dictate your actions instead of being the one in charge. And let me ask you this, how can you expect to lead, to succeed, or to inspire others if you can't even lead yourself? The Stoics had no patience for men who lacked discipline. They believed that self-mastery was the foundation of greatness. Marcus Aurelius didn't just stumble into being one of history's most respected leaders. He earned it through constant practice, focus, and control. He understood that power doesn't come from external things. It comes from within. But let's be honest. How many men today actually live by that principle? Most would rather take the easy way out. They tell themselves it's no big deal to indulge here and there, as if those small choices don't add up. But they do. Every time you give in, you're reinforcing bad habits. You're training your mind to prioritize comfort over courage. Wake up. You're not a boy anymore. Boys chase pleasure, men chase purpose. And the only way to pursue purpose is through self-control. When you master yourself, you unlock a kind of power that no one can take from you. You become the man who stays focused, who doesn't flinch in the face of challenges, and who others look up to. So stop making excuses. Stop telling yourself that this habit doesn't matter. It does. Every time you let it control you, you're giving up a piece of your potential. But every time you choose discipline instead, you're building a life of strength, power, and respect. The Stoics didn't just talk about control, they lived it. Now it's your turn. Wake up, take control, and become the man you were meant to be. The greatest battles are fought within, and for many men, the fight against indulgence is a daily war. Masturbation is one of those silent battles, and let's be honest, most men lose. But here's the thing, you're not powerless. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism holds the tools you need to reclaim your discipline and break free from this cycle for good. The first step is understanding that discipline is a skill, not a talent. The Stoics believed that anyone could master themselves if they committed to the process. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most disciplined men in history, didn't wake up every day craving discomfort. He trained his mind to rise above his desires. And you can do the same. But here's where most men get it wrong. They think discipline is just about saying no over and over again. It's not. Discipline is about shifting your focus. Instead of obsessing over what you're trying to avoid, channel that energy into something bigger than yourself. The Stoics taught that purpose is the antidote to weakness. When your mind is occupied with meaningful goals, there's no room for destructive habits. Let's get brutally honest. Are you living a life that inspires you? Or are you stuck in a cycle of mediocrity, numbing yourself with cheap distractions? If it's the latter, you already know why breaking free feels so hard. Without a purpose, discipline feels like punishment. But when you find your purpose, when you know what you're fighting for, self-control becomes a natural byproduct. The Stoics also emphasize the power of self-awareness. Start paying attention to your triggers. What situations lead you to give in? When do you feel weakest? The more you understand your habits, the easier it becomes to rewrite them. Self-discipline isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you resist temptation, you're strengthening your mind. Here's the truth. Breaking free isn't easy, but it's worth it. Imagine the man you could become if you weren't weighed down by this habit. Imagine the confidence, energy, and clarity you'd gain. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom isn't found in indulgence. It's found in self-mastery. The battle starts and ends with you. Use the lessons of Stoicism to take control, find your purpose, and reclaim the discipline that will lead you to greatness. It's time to break free. Here's the hard truth. The longer you stay trapped in this cycle, the further you drift from the man you're meant to be. Masturbation isn't just a harmless habit, it's a subtle form of self-destruction. The Stoics would say it's the ultimate betrayal of yourself, because every time you indulge, you're prioritizing weakness over strength, pleasure over purpose, and comfort over growth. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay stuck. The power to change is already inside you. Discipline, focus, and self-mastery aren't things you're born with. They're things you build. The question is, are you ready to stop making excuses and start building the life you want? Now let me challenge you. If this video spoke to you, I want you to leave a comment below. Share your experience. Tell me where you're struggling or how you fought to take back control. I'll be reading every single one, and I'll respond to as many as I can. This isn't just about a video. It's about creating a community of men who are done settling for less. The choice is yours. Stay the same or take the first step toward becoming the man you're destined to be. It starts here. It starts now.